Hello everyone, this is Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and I'm sharing with you today a video I made in advance in case I'm not able to attend the live stream on May 9th. I'm out of town. I am watching my son graduate from college and helping him move. So that's the reason that I might not be there, but I wanted to talk about this subject, which is about neutrals in art. Neutral colors in art. What does that mean? And so I wanted to do a video and show you a little bit about that and talk about that in case I don't make it. So we all know primary colors. That's something we learned in kindergarten. Red, yellow, and blue. Those are primary colors. Those are the base colors that can make any other color. And then we have this thing that's called a complementary color, and the complementary color is the one directly across the color wheel from the primary color. So directly across from red is green, directly across from yellow is violet or purple, and directly across from blue is orange. So I just wanted to give you a little demonstration about what happens when you mix these colors. You've heard about this before. Everyone talks about it. Oh no, don't mix these colors because they make what everyone calls mud, which is basically some shade of brown. And as you can see, as I'm mixing red and green, it makes brown. But the interesting thing about these colors is you shouldn't count them out. They have a very useful use in art. They offset other colors and make them look more bright. So if you put one of these muddy colors, or neutrals is what they're called, next to a bright color, it just makes it look brighter. If you put two bright colors together, they fight with each other. But if you put a neutral color next to one, it does that thing, that word that I hate, that P word, pop. It makes that color pop. So generally, neutral colors are created by mixing complementary and primary colors together, usually with a little bit of white or a little bit of black. White and black are also neutral colors, and there are all kinds of colors out there in your products that are neutral colors. Titan buff, some shades of tans and browns and um, muddy greens, and all those colors. We all love them. They are out there, and in fact, the most common place to use a neutral color is in your house. Everyone paints their walls off-white or tan, or the outside of the house is some sort of brown. We love these colors, we use these colors, and they're in nature all the time. All the colors are, most of the colors in nature are neutral. But what about in art? So as you see me mixing these colors, depending on how much of each color you mix together, you get different shades. And this is an infinite process. I could do this forever. I could, now come and mix some black into it. I could mix, more of the blue or more of the yellow, or in this case, orange. I mean, not yellow, orange. Um, I'm using Dina Wakley colors, and her primary colors are very, very true, but her secondary colors are some mixture of different colors. So that's not really a true orange. It's more like well, it's called cheddar. It's kind of a brownish orange color. So I don't get the exact clean, pure things that you might think of when I mix these, but I'm definitely getting these neutral colors. And as I was saying, we've got, that's Titan Buff, Titan Deep, Buff Deep something, I don't know, from Amsterdam. I've got this other one, Buff Titanium, which is a little bit dark, from Liquitex Basics. Those to me are very neutral colors. I even think some of the yellows are neutral colors, like Naples yellow. I think it's a very neutral color. You got your black, you got your white. So let's see what we can do with these. Let's see if we can make a composition using just these colors that I've mixed on my palette. There's no sense in wasting them. So I have an art journal here. This one was gifted to me from Rennie, and she got it in New Orleans. It's a handmade journal that she purchased specifically for me. She had my name painted on the front of it in New Orleans, and it has a color of paper that I consider very neutral, which is kind of a brownish tan, naturally created unbleached type of a paper. So I'm going to use that journal and these colors that I'm blending on my little piece of deli paper to create a composition. Of course, it would help if those people would stop texting me. Okay, here we go. So I've got the journal. This is the first page I've done in it. Rennie did the first page and also wrote me a nice note in there. There was a little bit of a turquoisey paint on there, so I just used some of that neutral paint off my palette to cover it up. And then I'm going to protect the rest of the pages by putting some paper towel in between. This book is probably maybe 5 inches by 8 inches. Probably it's a smaller one. And I've got some of these stencils that are kind of like a filler stencil. These are from Stencil Girl products. And I decided to start out with that just to get the paper more, the background more interesting. And so this one I think is called Dune Grass or Seagrass or something like that. They just are really great for filling in and making interesting patterns. They're actually not stencils, they're masks, technically. And I think this one might be called Wisteria or Tangled Wisteria or something like that. I'll be sure to put the links to these stencils as well as the paint colors and things in the description box below. When you use those links, well, if you use the ones to Amazon, I get a few cents. If you use the ones to Stencil Girl, it doesn't matter. Just helps you find them. But these neutral colors make an interesting background using these filler stencils because it's light and shadow without like something just screaming at you, some bright color screaming at you. Just very neutral. So the next thing I'm going to do is like try to paint something using the paints on my palette. I decided to paint a kitty cat because they generally are neutral colors. I mean, you don't see a bright purple cat, right? Unless somebody dyed it. I don't think anybody dyes their cat bright purple, but you just never know. They're gray, they're brown, they're white, they're striped. Sometimes they're a little bit yellow or orange color, which really aren't neutrals as much. But this one's going to be kind of a gray and white stripy cat, I guess. That's what it seems like it would be with green eyes. The one neutral that I blended was very much a khaki type of a color. It's the blue and orange together. Because of the tone of the orange I had, it didn't really come out as a brown. It came out more as a green, but that was fine because all we're talking about is blending colors together and how to make mud. So I'm going to use all these colors. I have some white and some black that I'm mixing in with them to make them either tints or shades. If you blend a white into something, it makes it a tint. And if you blend black into it, it makes it a shade. That's just another little tidbit. Can make some grayish tan and some brownish green and some yellowish gray, and some of these are warm colors and some of them are cool colors depending on what the base colors were, but they're all neutral and they make for a good kitty cat. So I'm just using my brush to fill in, trying to get it to look like a kitty cat face, like one of those little tire striped guys that has the gray and white and kind of tan color stripes on him. I'm sure you've seen one before. I don't know all the varieties of cats or what they're called, but now that one's a pretty warm neutral right there. It's almost pink, but it's maybe skin tone. Uh, when you mix red, yellow, and blue, you often get a skin tone color. But in this case, it's a complementary blend with some white mixed into it. The purple or violet that I had for blending, very, very intense color, so it battled against all the other colors when I was blending. But I'm just trying to give you a basic idea of color theory. I'm no expert here. I'm just giving you some things that you can try it yourself and how you can think about neutral colors. I'm sure Peg will have something else to say about it on the live stream, whether I'm there or not. It was her pick for a subject on our live stream, so she must have something to say. Probably something different than what I'm saying, maybe, I don't know. But this cat has a lot of fluffy, long fur around his face. I guess it's not a short hair cat, but yeah, just a kitty cat in the grass because that stuff in the back looks like grass. Give him some pupils in his eyeballs. It could be a she, actually. It doesn't have to be a boy. It could be either. Some highlights, adding in some white. This worked out well. The paper in this journal is very thin paper, lightweight paper, but it took the acrylic paint without gesso really nicely. It didn't bleed, it didn't buckle, so I'm happy about that. This is the first time I've used it. I have so many journals. I have tons of half-finished journals and unstarted journals, and I want to make more. I battle myself all the time about making more. I love them. So I think that just making endless journals is probably not as productive as actually making art in the journals. So I try to stop myself from just continuing to make more and more and more. I have a few that people have given me too, which are homemade. And I need to be doing some art in them as well. I was just looking at this really cute one that was made with gel prints on heavy paper that I was considering working in, but I decided to work in this one because it had the neutral paper. So just finishing up the kitty using smaller and smaller brushes and trying to get some details in there. So then I feel like the left side of the page needs something, so I decide to make some flowers using the leftover paint on my palette. And, I've got some different, I don't know, skin tones and pinks and stuff, and some green-ish neutrals, yellowish neutrals. And I'm just painting really plain, just quick flowers to balance the composition. And trying to fill in the centers a little bit to make them a little bit darker. But at this point, this is filler, and I'm planning on putting my details in with pen because pen is more easy to control. I just wanted something on that side. Sometimes it's all about balance. You got to have a balanced composition. I decided to add in a little bit of a more one color that's a little bit stronger. It's still a blend, but it's a stronger blend with that violet being a very strong color. Some leaves, just filling in. Highlights. All with those blended neutrals. So then I'm going to give this, I got the pink colors out so that you could see the pink colors. I'm going to give it a dry. And then pen work with some Posca pens, real sketchy on the flowers to make them kind of, I don't know, whimsical looking. And then I added a few details with the black pen, just really kind of intensifying a couple areas of the black so that they stand out more, and adding a couple highlights in the eyes. the tip of the nose, and then just adding a few little scribbly hairs around the cat's face to kind of be in tune with the left side, which has scribbly lines. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment or question below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this if you want to. And also, if this is your last video for today, could you please click onto something else before you log off? This is something new that I learned. So, yeah, onto something that has, a million subscribers so they don't miss you. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye bye.